Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the Entrepreneur Media Network from magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Network. I am the host, Robert Wesley Jones. That's what the W is for. I don't put the W on there because, you know what, I want you to just discover it by coming to this radio show and finding out who we are and who we bring on and, of course, who I am. I'm really excited this month. It's finally March. I'm excited on one hand because it's March, but, you know, I'm also kind of like, wow, it's March. We've gone through January, February. We're already getting to halfway through March. That means first quarter is over. You know, I always look at, well, where's your bottom line at? Are you reaching out to enough people? Are you making enough connections? Are you becoming more resilient, you know, with your business? So it's really a good time to start that stop. Where am I at the first quarter of this year, and see if you're making the measurements that you truly wanted from the end of last year. So, you know, let's just kind of stop, think about that, get your head directed into where do I want to go, how do I want to finish, and where I'm at right now. I have two wonderful guests today. I'll introduce them in a little bit, but before I do want to go into a little bit of housekeeping. And this housekeeping is, we are so excited. 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes is out on Amazon and quite a few different other, you know, places where you can find books to buy. We have it in paperback. We also have the digital version, and we actually are selling it still for a very good price. It's about 400 pages. I mean, the book is really large. This is the new one right here. The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. You can go to mybook.to, /Art of Connection Deuce, or two, or do, you know, and if you go to any one of those, I think you can find the book there and purchase it for $15 and like 99 cents, and the regular cover price of this is $25. So please take advantage of that book price. Also, coming up here in the near future, in November or December, in fact, we're going to come out with our third book, of the Art of Connection series, and that's 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. I'm really excited about that. We had a book premiere just last month, and we had over 200 people attend our book premiere, and from that, 82 authors signed up to be in the third volume of the series, which we're really excited about. Also, I want you to know that our Art of Connection Summit is going to be coming up on March 31st, so please save that date. We already have 220 people signed up. They're registered to attend that event. You know, certainly reach out to me. I have some discounted tickets left. If you are an author in the book, or the upcoming book, you can attend, you know, because you're an author. And right now we currently have 700 authors in the Art of Connection community. So we're really excited about that. But you can reserve a page for this book by going to 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. That's 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. And actually, someone asked me, do I have to spell out 365? No, you don't. Just 3, a 6, and a 5, and then transformationalquotes.com, and you can get a random page or a reserved page, you know, that is yours. Think of it as the entrepreneurial star registry, but instead of a star in the sky, you have a book page that people can read and leave your impression on the world. Also, I want to remind everyone to go to ntevents.net. That's ntevent.net. We have academy classes, we have our events, we have networking meetings, we have radio shows, we have I don't know, all sorts of other stuff. I mean, Sean runs the calendar, and thank goodness Sean runs the calendar, because we put on over 1,000 meetings and events per year. You know, there's masterminds there as well. There's our new formulation of engagement called Connect 5. You guys might want to be a part of that. Really fun stuff. And a couple more things. just, hey, like us. Go to facebook.com /iEntrepreneur Radio. Again, iEntrepreneur might be hard to spell, but once you've learned how to spell it, you'll never forget it, okay? Or, as I like to say, just bookmark it in your phone or your browser, and then guess what? You don't even have to worry about spelling it anymore after that. Also, we also have iEntrepreneur magazine. It's going to be coming out next month. We're really excited with Jeffrey Morris of Dream Smart Academy. They have a behavioral assessment, lets you know who you are. Like I said, so many things in life are like this. You get, even for a toaster oven, you get like a user manual, but for people, we don't have a user manual. So it's a great way to do an assessment, find out who you are and how you can interact with other people. So again, I'm really excited. This is our housekeeping for the day. Again, we're here each week from 2:30 to 3:30. This time of year, Mountain Standard Time. The other half of the year, it's Pacific Standard Time, because we're in that crazy state of Arizona. We're Mavericks here who just do everything just a little bit different. Well, I'm really excited for my first guest today. My first guest is Mr. John Verrico. How are you, sir?
Outstanding, Robert. Great to see you again.
It is great to see you. I always love it. We get to do this again. It's like I always tell people, it's like, I know Michelle's coming up in a little bit and you're here now. I always say I have to create a radio show to talk to my besties. You know that?
It's a great idea. That's brilliant. How to do that.
Got to do that. Got to do that. John, I've gotten to see you, speak to, in small segments to our community a couple of times. I've been able to talk to you on the phone a few times. We've been able to really connect. And I think that that's one of the greatest things that I can think of that we've never really had in history before. I could even think 5 years ago, pre-COVID, let's just go pre-COVID, when, people weren't really using the full, I guess the full capacity of what this new digital world can be, and quite frankly, in this new digital world, we can all become differing levels of rock stars, can't we?
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm a real people person, and I miss the human interaction that we used to have in person. Actually being able to touch hand to hand and shake a hand and hug people and all that stuff. And of course, when COVID happened and it made things more challenging to do so, when this technology started to come out and really start to be used more, I realized that we can have that face-to-face contact again. It still doesn't replace a hug, and I still miss that, but I'm able to actually see faces again, and it feels so much better.
And what I like about this for me, and I'm speaking for me, it has kept me by using this new digital world and really pursuing it in connection. And I say that, really meaningful intentionally, because yeah, I love the high fives. I love the in-person hugs. I love the energy of the room. But gosh, you know what? Before, when we weren't using this, we didn't have this though. We might get on the phone, we might have an email, we might do these different things, but we weren't really using, this face-to-face digital technology that as we do now. And one of the things I've always think about, too, is like, look at us right here. We get to see eye to eye, face to face, and we still get a little bit of feeling of interacting with each other, don't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this whole opportunity to not only see somebody and understand their facial expressions and their body language and all those critical pieces that are a part of communication that we miss out on just the phone, or certainly through email. But then we also get to see a little bit of the backdrop. We see what's in the background. We get to learn about their lives. I mean, I've learned so much about people because their pets come through the room or their children come through the room. And there was a colleague of mine who had a 3-year-old who decided that he just didn't like pants anymore. And he would decide this and run through in the middle of a conference call. So it was so, we never would have appreciated that before, but now, of course, we have this child that we all refer to now as Peaches because of that new familiarity we get with people. But we get to understand and learn so much more about people when we get to see them in this kind of an environment. So I'm definitely learning to take advantage of it.
Well, and what's really interesting about that, I found that one of the most talked about episodes that I ever had is when I forgot to put my cat and put my cat into the cage, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, I'm talking on the show, and the cat jumps up behind me, and here's the tail going around and around and around behind me. And you know what? I think it really goes back to, just, putting your shoe on, one at a time, putting your sock, one at a time, pulling up your pants, whatever. We're all people. We all have passions. We all have, likes. We all have dislikes. We all pursue relationships at different
Robert,
levels. And being able to see the environment
yeah.
is something
Nothing,
people really want.
nothing,
Yeah, they just
nothing connects
soak it.
humanity more than a cat butt. I mean,
No.
seriously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the tail wave. I mean, they're probably all going like this, doing the tail wave on there. And that's what I think. And and you and I have a shared history because we've both been in the military. We both talk about resilience. We talk about motivation. We talk about different techniques to help each other level up. But I think one of the things that we share most is we just have a pursuit of helping others. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what life is all about. It's not about our bottom line, and that's probably why I'll never be a zillionaire. It's all about helping each other. I mean, we don't go through life alone.
Hmm.
We are multiple people on this planet that are kind of striving towards a goal, and we all have to live and survive. And in order to do that, we need to work together. We need to help each other to do that. And I say over and over and over again, everyone has a motivational fire that burns inside of them, right? It's that motivational torch that keeps people going. It's our job to not only keep our own motivational torch going, but for that torch of those around us as well, and keep that fire burning. Because if we're all working together and our torches are all burning and we're all shining our light, our combined light can help us defeat any monster that's out there.
And I say that as well. I call it the theory of lights. And I always say if I take my light and I can hold it in my hand, and Michelle can take her light and hold it in her hand, and you can take your light and hold it in your hand, yeah, there's an illumination of that light. But once we come together, absolutely, once we come together, does that light not compound? Does it not synergize? Does it not illuminate just like you illustrated right here on this show, which I think is just amazing? I mean, it does, doesn't it? And here's the other thing. We have lived so time in the era of corporation. But I think the era of corporation is starting to change into the era of cooperation and collaboration. Because to me, in certain ways, the new era is actually, the new corporation, let's say, is really, all us entrepreneurs banding together to create a product and a service as a collective, aren't we?
Well, yeah, absolutely. When we talk about, and you talk about the combined light, and that is such an important issue, right? And one of the things to keep in mind is that you don't have to blow out my candle to make your light seem brighter. If we combine our light and work together, we create that ultimate illumination, right? So the whole idea of togetherness and working in collaboration with each other, there's so many examples out there that you can look at and watch. It's not about people being selfish and worrying about their own thing, but they find that when they combine with others and they collaborate with others, they can actually come up with new fresh ideas and actually come up with new products and new goals. And it's just so much better when you can just consolidate and combine. And I keep
Well,
saying that over and over again. I'm getting repetitious, but I mean that's really what it comes down to, right? It's all about collaboration and working together and sharing.
well, and with that said, I think it also starts to change because right now, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper level. Right now, there is a lot of focus in mental health. The last 2 years there's been a lot of difficulty with people, maybe being at their home more often, being with their spouse, being with their children, not being around the associates that they would be able to ideate and feed off each other in person anymore. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, a little bit of time goes by, and then all of a sudden, I'm looking at the world, and now we're starting to come back together again. And there's a certain amount of happiness, but quite frankly, there's a certain amount of awkwardness, as we sometimes get together. And I think mental health is something that is really starting to reach, the forefront of, everyone. And I see it in, people are kind of finding their feet. I said, like, the first step was connecting, the second step is collaborating, but to me now it's like kind of the self-care and the self-operators that get us going forward again, because even as much that we can collaborate and we can cooperate and we can do all these things, sometimes we do so much outward stuff, we sometimes forget about the inward stuff, don't we?
Oh yeah, and you know the thing you pointed this out, that we're starting to come back together again, and there is we have to look at how we fit into this new world that's been created here. But one of the things that I've noticed is that being separated from each other and then starting to come back with this new perspective, I think we've learned how to be a little bit more compassionate again. I think we're starting to understand that that person over there is more than just a business associate, or that person is more than just a competitor. They're another human being. And we're starting to understand that they're going through something, we're going through something, and we're actually going through it together. And so this learning about being compassionate is kind of, I think, is starting to bubble back up. And I think people are starting to learn how to be human toward each other once again. One of the things is an ancient proverb that says, "If you live long enough, everything will happen to you." And as a friend of mine, James Lee Stanley, says, that's kind of a sucky reason to stick around. But if you think about it, it means at some point in your life, you're going to be doing well, and at other points you're not going to be doing so well. In some story you're going to be the hero, in some story you're going to be the victim, and in another story you may very well be somebody's villain. And so the longer you stick around, the longer you live, the more chances are that you're going to experience all of these different things. You're going to have money, not have money, be hungry, be full. All those things are going to happen, and this is happening to everyone else as well. And you don't know where they are in that life cycle. You don't know all the things that are happening to them. But now we're starting to realize that as we're experiencing things, other people are experiencing things, and we're starting to see that there's a if we have a little bit more compassion with each other as we're going through life, then we can get along a lot better, and we can function a lot better, and we can achieve so much more. And that goes back to not only all of this for everyone else, but like I said, you have to look internally as well. You have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because you can't take care of others if you don't watch out for yourself first.
And I think that that's what's so incredible, because before, when like, I've done a lot of networking in probably the last 10 15 years of my life. It wasn't natural for me, because I was a computer guy. My life really revolved around zeros and ones and marketing technologies and working for big corporations, and the goal was extracting as much money from the public as you possibly can. I mean, it had nothing to do with feelings, but it had everything to do with algorithms. It had everything to do about dollars and cents. It had everything to do about marketing diagrams, and the ability to hit the target marketplace, and to get that proper niche, and to create that proper wording, and to be able to separate a person from their pocketbook. But I think what's really changing now is, like what you're saying, this whole, like I said, the connection is first, then comes the conversation. And I think what's really happening is now that we're starting to learn how to connect, now that we're starting to look at ourselves a little bit differently, now that we're starting to talk about feelings, it's also changing the way that people are looking at their conversations. And quite frankly, and I'll probably talk with Michelle a little bit about this as well, as people change, marketing has to change, and the words that we talk about and the feelings that we express and the desires that we want to hold and the resilience that we have to get through. I feel like because we've all been compressed in this time and space and it's hit us all so hard. I even look at like the Ukraine, and Russia, not that this is a political show, but seeing these things happen, it's like since we're so much more in touch with our feelings, we're also becoming more feeling oriented towards others. Wouldn't you agree, John?
That is exactly my point. And so, I talk a lot about kind of that inner motivational fire, right? That torch that burns inside of us. And I use torch as an acronym.
Mhm.
And it stands for all of those things that we need when we interact with other people that help us to stay motivated, and it helps them to be motivated as well. So that acronym, the T, is for trust. That's the first thing, right? You've got to have trust between each other to understand where you're coming from, and to understand that that there's a shared honesty and a shared trust between you. And the next is opportunity. You want to give each other the opportunity to succeed or to fail. The third is respect. That should be self-explanatory right there, right? You need to respect each other.
Absolutely.
And then is communication. And that's where so many things usually break down, is when people don't communicate openly and honestly with each other and volunteer information instead of hiding information. I think the age of the information hoarder should be over at this point. People realize that they need to share information in order to accomplish anything. And then that final piece is the most critical of all, I believe, and that's humanity, and being able to understand that we are all human beings, and that we have needs, and we're more than just the dollars and cents of our interaction. So that's the TORCH of torch, and that's that fire that I'm talking about. And if we treat each other that way, and we have those things ourselves, then we can be motivated, and others can be motivated, and we can get through whatever is going on. And I can only hope that what's going on in other parts of the world right now, that people finally see that torch light.
And I believe that they're more than just seeing the torchlight, John. I believe that they're grabbing the torch and they're running with it. Never before in the history that I have seen in my lifetime, and like I said, and you said it before as well. Things ebb and flow, and if you live in long enough, there's certain parts of history that do repeat themselves, and there's certain parts of history that we should remember and be retool and retrain from. But there's a couple of things I think that I see in entrepreneurs that they really want more. They want to have fun, and they want to have fulfillment. And and fulfillment is is it finances? Is it family? Is it self-care? Is fitness? Absolutely. But the thing is these conversations are driving us to, I think, there's that word that says you kind of, you act global, you act locally, but you think globally. And I think what's really happening is now, it's not so simplistic. It's like we act and think locally, and we act and think globally. We've created a more complex space, and we were looking at what achievement looks like much differently. And I think that, it's causing a lot of us to really demand more. And before we didn't want to be sold, but now it's just like, if you're going to sell me, you got, I always say, you got to educate me. I want some fun. I want to learn, and you know what? And I want to create impact with you. And I think that there's a big difference nowadays with what people want. They don't want that person up on that stage, a half a mile away, and they have it all, and I'm just trying to grab for it. And like you said, they're the information hoarder. It's like we want to work with a different paradigm in our shift, don't we?
You said something in the middle of all of this that really strikes home, and it comes down to people want to feel like they matter. They want to be part of something. It's not just about the dollars and cents anymore. When you look at what motivates the average worker to stay with an organization, it is not about the size of their paycheck. Oh, I mean, there is that, because we all are accustomed to certain frivolities like food and shelter, but there is more than that need. There is also a need to feel like you're making a difference and that you are important. You want to feel appreciated. You want to feel as if you are making a difference. Um, there's another motivational speaker named Michelangelo Caruso, and I didn't you can't make up a name like that. And he said that people don't want to take orders; they want to take part.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. People just want to feel like they're part of something. They want to feel appreciated, and it could be just the smallest thing. People don't change jobs nowadays too much for money, or even for promotions. Most people change jobs because they're looking for recognition. And if they don't get that recognition, and it's not always, like I said, about the dollars being the recognition, it's just about a simple thank you. It's about knowing that what they're doing makes a difference and that it matters. And I think really what it comes down to, Robert, is that we all, inside of ourselves, that's all we really want, is to feel as if that we matter. And we do matter. And the biggest challenge that I think we all face is, historically, when we look at another person, we immediately see our differences from that person, whatever that might be, whether it's class, whether it's finances, whether it is the color of their skin, their gender, whatever. You automatically start with that. How are we different from each other? I say, let's throw that out. Let's look at the commonalities that we have with each other. You and I are completely different parts of the country.
Yes.
Right? So we root for different, ball teams. We have different interests. You've got kids. I don't have kids. There's all kinds of differences that we have. You have a dog. I have a cat. Whatever. There's all kinds of. You have cats. I know, but I mean, there's all kinds of differences between us. And I can sit there and say, okay, he's got lighter hair. I've got darker hair. Whatever. I can find all these zillions of differences, or I can say, hey, wait a minute. We both have interest in this. We both like to help people. We both have been in the military. We immediately should look to and find those things that bond us together with each other, instead of what makes us separate and apart from each other.
And I couldn't agree more. And I think these other things besides this outside shell of us, what has happened so much, and I get good goosebumps even thinking about this, John, is we have also been going through this thing called the Great Resignation. And I mean, there are millions of people, and they're walking away from what they, how should I say this? They're actually walking away from a place of not feeling worth, and they're going to a place, and they're running there to places where they can be filled again, and they are sacrificing paychecks, security, safety, even family members who are turning their backs on, like, how can you do this? Because you know in droves, I think it goes back to it. We've reached this level in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is people's needs aren't being fulfilled in the triangle that
Right.
creates the human being and our spirit. And a lot of that is the higher levels. And I call 2022 and 2023, these years together are the years of transformation. And I think that there's this entrainment of people everywhere, and they're not wanting to put up with it anymore. They want to be edified. They want to have meaningful careers. They want to create impact and make a difference. They want to be with others who they feel love. I'm love. And they want to be able to have, I don't like saying work balance life. I don't look at it this, but what they want to do is they want to be a part of something greater. And to me, that's a humanity of harmony, in a way that I've never seen before. And, yeah, I want to make money. Yeah, but I want to see my family. I want to love my wife. What good is loving a partner if you don't have time to be with them, to share in that love?
Yeah.
And I think for so many of this, we're done. We're fed up. We want more, don't we?
I think people realize that, and unfortunately, COVID has been a great eye opener for this. People are realizing that life is simply too short. And so rather than waiting for that time when they can have more time with family, when they can feel like they're doing something of more impact, they're like, oh, you know what? I don't have time to wait for this. I'm going to go do it now. And you're right. A lot of people are making that change in their life because they're seeing, hey, we don't that tomorrow is not promised. And so let's go ahead and work today for what we want and what we need. And let's try to help others achieve that as well.
Absolutely. We're coming to the end of our segment, and I wanted to bring up, and I appreciate you. I mean, I was just, I first called you LinkedIn. I called you and we talked, and what was going to be maybe like you think maybe a 5-minute call, we were on there over an hour. And I remember
I was waiting for the sales pitch and we never got to it.
we never did because we just had too much. And then, and we still keep going, and that's the difference. you know the connection is not the fear. You have to know the connect. I think what it is understanding the conversation that comes afterwards, and that's what we've had. And that's what we share. And the other share is, I always say, entrepreneurs, there's three things that make an entrepreneur's move. Time, money, and belief. And quite frankly, belief is everything, because I'm not going to share my time if I don't believe it, and I'm not going to share my money if I don't believe in it. I mean, quite frankly, that's about it. Because and I also say the other part of that scale is people sometimes, if they have a lot of money as an entrepreneur, have little time, and people who have a lot of time, either they don't know how to use their time, but they're not making a lot of money. But it always goes down to pursuit is based upon belief. And you believed in this little project called the Art of Connection, and you're in the book 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. And I just kind of wanted to read you your quote, and which is great, because you say it, and we've talked about this a little bit today. Each of us has a torch, a passion burning inside that ignites our motivation, and our combined light can keep any monster at bay. And any monster can be anything to anyone, because we all look through things differently. And you talk openly here about being respected, and communication, and talking about something which I don't hear a lot of, but I'm hearing more and more of, and that's just about openly about humanity. And you're like, no matter what our differences are, there's a singular trait that everyone has in each one of us, and that is our guiding light, isn't it?
Absolutely. And to believe in that and to believe in ourselves is so incredibly important. I think one of the most profound lines I ever heard, and it was kind of a goofy thing, and I'm sure that a zillion motivational speakers have said this, and it's kind of almost a joke about motivational speakers, but it's still very profound. And it says, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, it's so true. It's all about your belief in your ability to succeed. Now, I believe that I can help other people. I believe that I can help myself also by helping other people. And I am inspired by people who look beyond themselves and reach out to help others. And so those are the kinds of people that I automatically and naturally gravitate toward.
you
And
know
I
and and you question, and you question, in this book, your question is, how will you share your fire with others? And I think that bodes well, because sometimes I say entrepreneurs are horrible at this. and I'm hoping to make a change here, because we work on what we do, you know, but we need to set a little bit of time to work on who we are. And I think the best ways that we can work on who we are is, really, periodically, like I said, this quarter, are you hitting your targets? Are you hitting your self-care? Are you saving others? And I think that that's what you do, John, and in a very profound way. Your date is June 10th. It's page 161 in the Art of Connection book. Was there a special reason for June 10th?
Actually, that just came out at random.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so I did not select that date or request it. That was just a random thing. But I will tell you that June 10th is an important date in my life because it is my quote in that book.
I will take that. I will take that. Well, I say if you don't have a date, leave it to fate, and we'll create one for you.
There you
So,
go. There you go. But
I love it,
I
John.
tell you, you don't realize the impact that you have. And really quickly, I know you know the parable about the little boy on the beach with the starfish. And so there are thousands of starfish on the beach, and the little boy's picking them up and throwing them back in the water one at a time. And somebody comes by and says, "What are you doing? You can't possibly help all these starfish. I mean, it's an impossible task. You can't possibly make a difference." And the little boy reaches down, picks up one more, throws it into the ocean, and says, "I made a difference for that one."
Yeah, best story ever. I told my kids that, and I think the greatest business, the greatest, you know, I think understandings in life are, there's that keep it simple, stupid, and to me, if my kids can understand it, I'm going the right direction. I certainly think that, you have that in that parable right there, John. I think it's
Hey, you
amazing.
know that keep it simple, stupid. That one is kind of insulting because you're saying, "Hey, you're calling somebody stupid." So there's a
Yes,
variation on that,
tell me it. I will take
and
it down right
it
now.
is called well. So let's say you just painted this wall and you just spent hours, doing all the detail work, and the wall is still a little bit tacky. So you don't want anybody coming and touching that wall, or leaning against it and getting paint on themselves and ruining your paint job and getting paint on their clothes, and everybody's going to be all upset. You want to put up a sign that's going to quickly communicate not to touch that wall. What should your sign say? Wet paint. You see a sign that says wet paint, you immediately know what it means. You know not to touch it. You have transmitted all of the information that you need to warn somebody not to touch that wall. And so there's your keep it simple rule right there. Just take it down to the bare minimum of what you need to communicate to get that point across, and that everyone will understand, and don't obfuscate it.
Absolutely, absolutely,
It's the
John.
wet
I
paint principle. There you go.
thank you so much. I have your information scrolling across. Are there any other ways that we can reach out to you?
Go to my website, johnverrico.com. My email and phone number are on there, and you can follow me on all social media. I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on
You should get on
LinkedIn.
TikTok. Yeah, I mean
Well, you
that'd be
never
great.
know. I used to be a big disco dance instructor, so maybe I'll go and do some moves. But
I say yes.
I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So follow me. Every month I put out a calendar of an inspirational challenge. So this month is the month of rejuvenation. So definitely check it out. Those calendars are all on my website on the resources page, and they're all free for download. But every day on my social media, I put up a post that expands on that day's thought. So if nothing else, just follow me on social media. Maybe you'll get some ideas.
Well, John, thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate you. It's always just a great time. I'm here with John Verrico of Share Your Fire. And John, you're inspirational, you're motivational, and you're just, for me, as I would say in Texas, you're just a great kick in the pants. So thank you again for being on the show today.
Thank you so much, Robert. It was a delight to be here.
All right, again, everyone. I was with John Verrico, founder of Share Your Fire. And if you want to reach out to him, just reach out to me. I can get a hold of him as well. I like to say in the Entrepreneur Network, I'm probably the most underutilized tool in the whole network. So please, reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation, and maybe you and I could be on this show as well. We're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to come back with our next guest, Miss the Great Change CEO, Michele Malo. After I find the commercial. Yep.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
All right, I'm going to be bringing on Michele Malo, and she's going to appear like the wizard. There she is, Michele. Hi, how are you?
Amazing. I have got to tell you, you are the master of connections, because as he was talking about Torch, this is my logo.
Yes, yes.
It's bringing the fire.
It is about bringing the fire. And, Michele, we've known each other for a few years now. I mean, and I told you from the first time we met, I said, you know what? I like those redheads because they all bring the fire, don't they?
Oh yeah, if you want it or not.
If you want it or not.
Yeah, we're coming with a warning. Just saying.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. It was really interesting because when I was talking to John in the first segment, it really brings a lot of memories, really the first time that you and I sat down and we actually went out to this coffee shop, and we just were really just talking about how we looked at life and what we wanted from it. And those who they pitch the best but they fulfill the worst, or they don't pitch very well but man, they just you know they're diamonds in the rough. They're gems. They pursue it. They care. They're always there. And the ones that need to be seen, you and I are both speaking about this.
Right.
You and I are like, how can we find those people and just keep bringing them out? And I think that that's what you and I always wanted to do. We were like, our thoughts were like being disruptive, right? Because I'm not keen on disruption in the name sense, but what we were wanting to do is say, how can we can change the shape of an industry, kind of like the starfish, finding those people, bringing them out, and saving that one. And that's what I've always appreciated about you. You've worked hard. You went to the school. You went to UNO. I still remember that. University of Nebraska Omaha, the Mavericks, right?
Lincoln.
Lincoln. Okay, so you're a Cornhusker.
I'm a Husker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're the Husker.
That's right.
So I don't know how you went from Chicago to Nebraska. That doesn't sound too natural.
Not at all. But sometimes, again, redheads come with warnings, and we just see something sparkly and say, you know what? I need to do that. I was at DePaul for 2 years, and nothing wrong with DePaul. I actually loved it. I was in a sorority there and everything. Went on a road trip, happened to be there, and I said, you know what? I want to go to University of Nebraska. And within 2 months, picked up and left and did it. Because I'm all about the action. It's like, if you see something and you feel it in your spirit and in your heart, it might be a mistake, but you won't know unless you try it. Never what ifs, just do it. So that's what happens. It's a little bit longer story than that over coffee.
Well, yeah, it really is. But but you also tend to take on a certain amount of fearlessness, and you wear a certain amount of fearlessness as a badge. And one of the things I have always wanted to ask you, but I haven't asked you, so of course I have to have a radio show to do it on. But it is your sense of fearlessness. Is it an internal driven thing through nature, or was it partly nurtured? What got you this time and space? Because I kind of want to talk a little bit about your career,
Okay.
but you left a career where you were ranking high, you were going up, and then all of a sudden one day you just decided, okay, I'm going to shift drives, like going from DePaul to University of Nebraska. What creates this burning passion to be fearless?
It is definitely internal. I beat to my own drum. I did the Great Resignation before it was cool and hip.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, as much as I love the support of my parents and my friends and all of that, when I quit corporate, the side eye, the what are you thinking? I mean, I was running food service marketing department for Barilla Pasta nationally. And folks are like, so you're going to leave that to become a personal trainer? Honestly, I'm very eclectic, everyone. So we can chat on another level. But the point of that is I have this very internal desire to serve.
Mhm.
And when I've had, and weight and health has been a huge barrier in my life, triggers things, and everyone's had them. And because everyone's had them, I always feel the drive to be able to say, been there, had the size 28 pants. Let me help you get through the mindset pitfalls, and also be there because you're going to triumph and you're going to go back. I'm telling you, lost some of the weight from COVID, but there's some still, still some struggles because during that, I went from Chicago to Phoenix, so there's
Yeah.
that.
And yeah, and that's what marks you as your stories, Michelle. And I think because you've been able to be like a chameleon, in many ways, drafting yourself from place to place, and from secure and safety, and maybe not feeling that fulfillment, maybe not feeling like did you have the ability to grow, to a certain extent? Yes, but I'm sure it was all measured,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it was all refined, and I'm sure for you, you felt confined by that, didn't you?
I did. If you ever listen, I'm an 80s girl, so the whole U2 song, Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. I
Yeah.
feel like that's like a mantra because I feel like in every stage of life, and as I'm coming up to my 50th year, I'm not done yet. And my biggest thing is there's so many people that have come into my life, you being one of them, Sean, your wife, another, just continually making me question and drive how much more impact can I have on other people, and in what way? Because again, the pivot that's happened just in general, not only in our space in terms of networking and marketing and all that kind of stuff, but it's been transformational. And I loved what John said in terms of differences and throwing them out the window. I 100% agree with that. But what I want to take a look at is that when you walk into a room and someone says they're a marketer, and I'm a marketer by trade, is, oh my gosh, that's competition. And it's so not, because the way everyone looks at their stories, their background, all of it is a different take on how you would market or do something. And there is clients that need your individuality.
Oh my gosh. You hit it, right on, because I say this, Michelle, and this is like the $1 million question. You
Mhm.
know, it's marketing will always be there, won't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
It will always be there, but what changes is the strategy.
that's it. And it's the humanity,
Hmm.
because what I have pivoted into is a lot more working with individuals versus corporations and things like that. That gives me so much more fulfillment. And I had a client reach out because she's getting into the speaker world and all this kind of stuff and wanted me to read her bio, give me some feedback because I'm more of a content. And I read it and it was good, but it wasn't her brilliance, because we tend to tone down how amazing we are because we don't want to seem self-centered, whereas our brilliance is what's going to help bring other people around. And she's like, oh darn, I already said that. I go, there's nothing wrong with it. I just said, but you don't see what I see in you. And that is the marketing, because that is what resonates with other people. So whether it's a LinkedIn, as little as a LinkedIn profile, or you're speaking, or you're working with clients, or whatever that is, it's that having that, even though you might change, like me, I'm a, I don't have any moss on the stone. I don't even remember what that is. But because again, it's an old cliche, right? But the whole fact is if we can bring out the brilliance in others, that is the best marketing you could ever do. And it's biggest self, to me, it makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's really what it's about. I mean, to me, they say that a person who is in a positive space is 31 paribus, all things being equal, is 31% more productive than someone who is in a negative space. You know,
right,
and I think that actual study was someone who is neutral. I mean, to be in a negative space, I mean, you're not going anywhere. And
right.
and I think that the marketer of today, can't just look at the person. They can't just look at the brand. They can't just look at the strategy. They need to know that the marketing is already there. But I think that there's a different it that's coming into our society and into our business, into the conventional wisdom, especially with our youth who have access to so much. And you touched on it, and that is, how does our business, how does our gift, how does our impact, affect, right? Affect humanity on a personal to global level. And if you can communicate in the conversation in that manner, that's where growth lies, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, you just made my heart so happy with that because it's the honest to goodness truth. And when I'm working, because again, I went to working with these big corporations down to one to one, and so many people got the rug pulled from them with COVID. And so they're marketing themselves. And the biggest thing I say is that, so whether it's a resume, it's social media, it's in an interview, you need to show up as you, not something on a piece of paper, not something. You don't want anyone to read a resume or read your LinkedIn and then you show up and they don't match,
Yeah.
right? You want to have, there's nothing wrong. Like I said, I'm a little bit squishy. I'm a little bit more on the emotional side of stuff, right? And squishy because I've still got a good 20 pounds of me, but that working on it. But
No,
there's
that's just fluffy, Michelle. Just say
it.
it's fluffy. That's it.
It is.
It
It is.
is.
There's more of me to hug. That's what I say.
That's right.
Which I love that too, because I'm glad that we're starting to get back there also. But it is truly this renaissance of humanity again. And again, I agree with you, the politics, and sometimes you have your keyboard warriors. And if you're being and you're putting yourself out there and someone comes back at you and kind of thing, never know, just know that come back to that with love, and that you don't know what those other folks are coming from in the background in terms of where some of that negativity is. But as long as you show up as you, that's respectful, it all tends to work out. So yeah, I just feel like marketing and networking and connecting, uh, because again, there it feels like we're kind of getting too punched with stuff
Yeah.
that's happening. And financially, who could have expected, some of the stuff that's happening right now. But if you're connected and you are doing right by people and you are on target, you'll get through it. And that's why
Yeah.
you surround yourself, because even if you're struggling, that's why you have that circle of connectivity of people who are going to bring you along with them. And that is what I hope people can know, that they can always call me and be like, I don't know. I got to talk to you. Please. I'd
But
like to say underutilized. Call me.
yeah, absolutely. Just call. And I think so much of the time is, if I could have some type of magic wand and I could just go, whoosh, I could see what's in their brain and I could say, this is what you need. Whoosh, but we just can't. I wish we had that clairvoyance. I'm just not there yet, Michelle. I'm getting there. I'm going to try to figure this out. Okay. You know, but you talked about speaking from stage. You talked about corporations, and we learn so much about others when we see a person or a corporation, and how they come out with marketing campaigns, or how they come out with personal conversation or stories from stage. And and we're trained so much. But I think that there's something else that's coming out with, because the one goal of marketing, absolutely, is to get to a marketplace. It's to create awareness. Because I say this all the time myself, Michelle. I say there is no company on earth that ever grew without anyone being aware of it.
That's 100% correct.
You,
100%.
you know, I'm like, and so people even say, well, why do I want to pay on your stage? Because you want people to be aware of you. Why do you want to get into a magazine? Because you want people to be aware of you. Why do you want to get on a podcast? Because you want people to be aware of you. But here's the thing I think that you different, and this is that stage speaker when they become too speakified. Because the one thing that marketing has to be aware of is people are starting to develop something that I call the sniff meter.
Yes, sir.
And they're like, well, you're here and you're here and you're here, but why am I not believing you?
Because they're
Why
not
am
here.
I? Yes.
That's why.
You got to have the heart set before you can work on the mindset. And once you can get those two straight, then you can get to your skill set. Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that. And I'm going to go back again to what you were talking about with John. When he said, I was waiting for the pitch and it never happened. That's when you've done it. Because I will tell you, back when this was just starting to get going, I sat in some of those rooms and threw money at things that turned out to be, I wish I had the sniff factor. Oh my gosh, I wish I had the like, what was I thinking factor. But honestly, it is when you connect with someone, because I will tell you, I had another lady and she's looking to do some things. And I'm looking for someone, because it's LinkedIn and everyone has a recommendation, right? Of someone they know, trust, and whatnot. And it was this guru and that guru and this person and that person. And I just wrote on there, I could do that for you. Guess who got the job? This girl.
Yep.
Because I was part of her networking group. So I was actually part of the inner circle. So there already was a trust because she knew the people that were in there, and our group is just a great group of folks. But when I actually got on the phone with her, I wasn't selling her. I was getting to know her.
Yeah.
And understanding. And because I'm the first one, if I'm not the right person, I know a person and I'm going to introduce you to them. I'm never going to sell you something or say I can do something if I really can't. And that's the sniff factor. Because if you try to be all things to all people, or you have all the lingo and you have all the catchphrases and okay, here we're coming at you for the $97 program that we're going to sell you up to $197 that we're going to sell. The next thing you know, you're in for $20,000-$30,000. And honestly, this is part of the thing. Just warning y'all, if you're not familiar with it, that's why you have to surround yourself with folks like Robert and John and other people within the group, because they're not like that. They're really here to serve first and also to make you financially successful, because at the end of the day, we still got to put gas in our tank and food on the table and all those things. So yeah.
And that's another thing that I think the real training is getting to understand again the power of community, because quite frankly, all marketplaces are community spaces.
100%.
And it's so funny because sometimes we get so busy at times doing our linear things, we don't look up and say, stop.
Yep.
Let me look from a distance. Let me create a perspective. Let me rely on my intuition and assess before I address certain things. I mean, sometimes don't we just have to stop, Michelle?
We do. And we also need to know our weaknesses. And I'll tell you, learning to stop and also just head down for me is a problem. And you know that too. You're like, Michelle, where are you sometimes? Because again, you're just going, trying to get it all done, where when you stop, like I said, I'll be on a high for the rest of the day by just doing this. Because you are one of my besties and I trust you and I love what you're doing. But yeah, we just get caught up into all of that versus why did we get into it? And the self-care of that, because again, I struggle at that. I've, like I said, my whole life. So when other people do, I hope someone can trust that if you need me to pull you out of something, I will, but know that I might need to call you because I need to get pulled out of something every once in a while too. Nobody has it all under control, no matter how polished they look everywhere.
No.
Just saying.
Oh, that's probably the most true statement I've heard today, right there. I mean, I don't care who you are. No one has it absolutely right each and every time. And quite frankly,
Right.
I think that you miss out, on life if you don't achieve some failure as well. I go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so here's a crazy thing. Okay, again, sometimes I got to do something because I bucket list things, right? I just said I'm gonna be 50. I'm gonna be 50 years old. I'm not in the best shape that I've been in before in life. So what did I go and do on Wednesday? I'm gonna probably say this wrong. I actually joined a jiu-jitsu dojo
Oh,
to learn
wow.
martial arts. And folks are like, what? And I would
You
tell
did
you right
what?
now, my hair hurts. I'm so sore right now.
Oh
I
my
realized the
gosh.
hardest part of it was actually like, wow, I have a hard time even just getting off the floor. So what do you do? Join one of the harder disciplines. But the thing is that it pushes me, and I know I need to get in there. But what martial arts, as an example, does is community again. It comes back to discipline, community, and something that I know I'm struggling at a little bit, but it's so far out of my comfort zone that I'm like, why not?
Yeah, and that goes back to what you and I have talked before, what John and I have talked to before. It's like, look, if I know you have the struggles that I have, it goes back to we can do it together. We
That's
can move forward collectively. And I call it the salt and sugar principle. You have salt
mm,
and I have sugar. We trade with each other and we both gain from it. And I think that that's what people really want. They want to have gains where both benefit. Yes, sometimes money is passed. Sometimes some time is passed. Sometimes stuff is passed. But at
right.
the end of the day, it really is about you will never lose a client if they feel fulfilled by you, will you?
That's well, or what you said before, or you're not going to lose an employee because all they want is respect and a credit for sometimes of what they've done and feel like they're part of something and contributing to the overall mission, so to speak. And that could be one to one, that could be one to many, it could be a lot of things. But like I said, if you look at my background, it's like, hey, if I were to move my computer that much either way, you would see the hot mess that I have going on all around me, right? And I call creativity. We're not going
Yeah,
to be negative about, but it really is the honest to goodness truth. If you show people humanity, respect, and you bring them along, and you know what they're looking to do, and you can be that much part of it, it's everything. And that's
it is.
that's what makes the world go round. And if we stop on all these talking points that are so negative, and that's within your own heads, ladies and gentlemen, stop on those talking points you keep repeating to yourself. Stop watching TV and what's being repeated to you that you should believe, and just go out and believe in yourself. Do something that scares you. I'm telling you, the world is absolutely oyster. You don't have to be me, like I said, moving cross country, quitting. It doesn't have to be that dramatic. Trust me, because there's moments I think, why does it have to be that dramatic? I don't know,
It,
right?
but it is what you make it, this is so you because I want to bring us in because we're right at the end of the
Yes.
segment and even a little bit over, but this is
Oh,
just such
sorry.
good stuff. It's just, I mean, John's like just typing in there, just great stuff. But your quote in the upcoming book, 365 Days of Transformational Quotes, and I think that. I mean, it's like sometimes you just got to jump in. And your quote is, if the rug gets pulled out from under you, buy a new rug. And that's you. You're at DePaul, you go to Nebraska, you're at Brilla, and then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna set out on my own. It's like, you know what, there is nothing holding you back from that. And that's why I always say this about you. You're a redhead and you're fearless. Can't beat that.
Or you know what? It's not that I'm fearless. It's just I don't let the fear stop me. Just
Yeah.
to tell you that I'm not afraid of a lot of stuff.
You move with fearlessness.
There we go. Yeah,
You
I
know,
try to do
that would
that.
even be a better. It doesn't mean you don't have fear, but it's just like, you know what? Got the hot coals, got to deal with it. If I don't, the Coles beat me. But that's what I love about you. You're a gamer. You plug away. You take that creative space, and it's like, one of the things you said here is, I want to be the person who helps you buy the new rug, walking side by side with you to discover all your passions and to help you define your purpose. And that's what I mean. Your goal in humanity is like, like the starfish. It may not be all those starfish, but you know what? It doesn't have to be, because you're still saving more starfish because you pursue it each and every day. And your question is, are you ready to buy the new rug?
That's right. It's time to make the change. If you feel it in your soul, and I go back to this even with relationships. I left a 20-year marriage, right? Do you know how hard that was? Something I never saw coming. But there is a point when your soul, whether it's your employment, whether it's your relationship, no matter what it is, you really have to sit with yourself and determine, like you were saying, life is too short, not promised tomorrow. If tomorrow could be different, would you be joyous? Then you go and buy the new rug. And sometimes you don't know what that looks like. So surround yourself. Could be me, it could be anyone in your circle to help you figure out what that is. That's what
absolutely. Well, Michele, I'm so excited that you are on the show with me today. And John, I mean, it like I said, we need to make a show for the show. We do so much. I mean, it's like great, because we really, we just create that space to reflect and to refine and and help others. And I have your information going across the screen right now. I'm with Michele Malo, the Change CEO. She's a business consultant and coach. And I remember, her and I talking, and we said we made the mistakes, so you don't have to. So come to us. We can. That's how we help you go faster.
I'll show you my notes. Yeah.
Yes. We got our journals. You can contact her, at michelemalo.com, or call her. Michele, are there other places that people can find you?
Yeah, I'm the same thing. My handle on LinkedIn, all of that is at Michele Lee Malo. Remember, it's 1L Michele. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm working on the TikTok thing. I haven't got there yet either, John. So I feel you. But you can do that. And I will have a new website that's going to be michelemalo.com coming out in the next few weeks. And also a podcast going to be coming. So yeah, if you need to get a hold of me, I'll be here.
And again, if you need to get a hold of Michele, please, utilize me, call me, text me, send a carrier pigeon. I don't care. Just get your need to me, and I will help set you up with that connection. Michele, thank you so much for being on our show today.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you, guys.
Again, that was Michele Malo, the Change CEO, and before that, John Verrico, and I was, founder of Share Your Fire. Both of them, I think they're fire starters in their own right, and either one, if you'd like to get a hold of them, please, contact me or just get with them directly. Remember, the show is each and every Thursday from 2:30 to 3:30 Mountain Standard Time. Again, we're that crazy maverick state of Arizona. You guys, make it a great week. And, and think about what we said in this show today. Think about what you can do for yourself, and think about what you can do for humanity. And think about what you can do in your own time and space. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you so much. Have a great week. And until next time.
You've been watching the iNtrepreneur Show, a production of the iNtrepreneur Radio Network with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.